From Provo, Utah, this is the Ultimate Final Fantasy Podcast with your hosts, Joseph DeGolier and Caleb Schweiss. This is Ultima Final Fantasy. Welcome to another episode of Ultima Final Fantasy, the Ultimate Final Fantasy Podcast. I am your only host today. I will be doing the podcast alone. Today I will be talking about the history of Square Enix Part 1. But before we get to that... Oh, wait, no, Caleb's here.
I'm Captain Bosch von Rotzenberg of Dalmasca.
Wrong. Wrong, I'm Captain Bosch.
Okay.
Don't listen to Ondor's lies, people.
All right. Caleb is here.
Yes.
And, History of Square Enix Part 8, and I'll tell you why. It's because I got too busy and I couldn't finish Lightning Returns.
Yeah.
That's all.
Well, I mean, finishing it was kind of a stretch anyway, right? Since you're building some, desperation build to take on the final
I wouldn't
boss.
call that a desperation build.
You were grinding for item drops.
I was.
I
was grinding for item drops. You were correct. There was this piece of shit called Desdemona. I needed a move called Beatdown. And in order to get Beatdown, I have to. This is the only way in the game you can get Beatdown. You have to stagger that creature. And then there's a chance of getting beat down. But if you just kill it, there's no chance of getting beat down. And I was too powerful to stagger it. I would kill it before I could stagger it.
Oh,
so
okay. So you had to find
it took
out
a lot of strategizing to figure out how to get that thing staggered.
Yeah, you have to make sure it, drag out its pain and suffering.
I had to have
I
had to have my stats low. I had to dodge 3 times or guard 3 times. And then I would have to use Thunder 1 over and over again, and that would sometimes stagger him right at the end.
Oh, wow.
And that took me 2 hours to figure out, because I watched other videos of other people staggering him, and they weren't doing as much damage as me, so they were
it was not a big deal.
Yeah, it was not a big deal.
Because they weren't slaughtering the poor guy.
So it was figuring out how to stagger that guy was tough. It was just tough. But yeah, that was the most frustrating part of the end game grind experience.
Okay. Are you still enjoying the game? Are you enjoying the time you have in it right now?
I really wish that I would have just beaten it, because I don't like doing this type of thing.
You don't like pushing off reviews?
I don't like pushing off reviews. That is one.
Sure? I mean,
not on purpose.
All right.
I don't like pushing off reviews, but I don't like having to do so much shit just to get past the one thing in the game I cannot get past.
Right. It's
so I do just fine on everything else in the game, and then the final boss has to be a glorious asshole.
Well, that's kind of the only time that's appropriate, though, to be honest. I mean, if you're gonna, at least it's not getting to the moon in Final Fantasy IV. It's not oh, well, here's the last third of the game. By the way, you can't do anything here because it's too hard. It's, oh, here's the last boss. The last boss is a bitch. Good luck. I kind of prefer that over the last third of the game being impossibly hard compared to everything else. So
by day 5, I've gotten everything else in the game done. And I went ahead on one save file and I tried to beat the final boss. And I tried it again. I got to their 3rd form.
Okay.
But all my stuff had been depleted by then.
Oh, so you didn't have any more items?
There's
or
no
anything?
way I'm going to beat this guy.
Yeah.
Not without some serious heartache. So I decided I would just go back to my old save file, because I did 2, just in case this would happen.
Right.
And I'm taking that save file. I'm going to play it normally till day 8. There's some equipment I got to buy on day 8. That's very expensive. And then on day 10, there's also more equipment I have to buy. So I'm letting the clock run while doing small side quests to get small stat boosts.
Right.
And then I'll do a separate save on day 8. I'll do a separate save on day 10. And then I'll take that day 10 and I'll just I'll plow forward. After I get my final equipment, I do have to beat the 4 dudes to get the ultimate weapon. And yeah, I know.
Good luck with that. That was
I know.
rough.
I got to look up strategies for those guys as well, so that I'm not fucked when I get to them.
Right.
Too. And then it's just the final boss after that.
All right. How do you feel about the side quests in the game? I mean, that's basically all you're doing right now. Do you like it?
I would like to be able to turn my brain off, and 13 and 13.2 allowed you to do so. Every time you had a thing that you had to go do, there would be a nice little icon that would tell you where to go.
Oh, yeah.
And with most of the side quests in Lightning Returns, that is not the case. You have to kind of have been looking around town to see where things were.
Right. That's where the wiki comes in very handily.
Yeah, I don't want to go through the guide, though. Like, it's just bugging me.
Why?
Don't like
just
it.
look up the quests online, man.
I just want to be able to turn my brain off because I'm not in play the game mode.
You're in
beat
grind.
the game mode, and I've already played this game for 20-something hours. I would like it to be over. And so, yeah, it's not a part of the process. I very much enjoy. I've had to do it a few times, though, for Final Fantasy, but it is what it is.
Yeah. I don't know. We've run into final boss problems many times throughout this podcast, so it's not a new thing for us. I mean, we're not horrible at these games, but every once in a while a boss fight comes up and I have to question that. I have to question whether or not I'm just awful at Final Fantasy and I've never been good and I've only been good at the easy games and I'm just a piece of shit. You're
one of those things.
That doesn't deserve thank you. That doesn't deserve to live.
Okay.
But I am done with the game, so...
Oh, yeah, congratulations. And what else are you done with?
I am done with the trophies in the game, too. I grinded my last grind in the Lightning Returns game, which was a ridiculous grind. I'll have you know.
Okay.
I had to do, I believe, 20 or 30 upgrades to my weapons and to my shields in the game to get the last two little dinky bronze trophies to unlock that sweet nectar, that sweet platinum nectar. And basically what happened was throughout the game, certain bosses give you, I don't know, sort of crafting material items when you defeat them. And had a bunch of these items, so I was like, okay, well, I started the New Game Plus. I did a few quests, unlocked the area of the map I needed to go to in the first town, went over there, upgraded all my swords, got the trophy for the swords. I was like, great, everything's going swell. Like, this is awesome. I'm just going to grind out the next one. I get like 2 shields in, and I'm out of those items. And I'm like, oh, shit. Oh, man. So I look online, and I'm like, okay, obtaining upgrade items, Lightning Returns. And it's like, oh, yeah, there's a guy that randomly appears in certain locations. There's no way to really track him. And it's like day 8 only. And I'm like, oh, God. So I go in and I look at one more thing and I'm like, oh, I can downgrade these items. So I don't have to go find this random jerk off that's just, sometimes he appears here, sometimes he appears here. Here's a list of the 50,000 areas where he might show up in. You can go buy stuff from him. So instead of doing that, I went in and I deconstructed my upgrades to hopefully harvest the materials again. There's like a chance for them to disappear though. So what I had to do was save my game and then deconstruct everything. And if I got like 70% of them back, I would keep the save file. If not, I would reload and then deconstruct again. And it sucks though, because I didn't do that until after I had pulled some of the parts off. So like I lost a few, right? And I
lost a few first.
Yeah, I lost a few first, and then I realized what I was going to have to do, and I was like, oh shit. So I just sat there and I did it until it was done.
Waited until the luck was in your favor.
Yeah, it was sick. And then when I got like 7 or 8 out of 10 the first time, I would save then, and I'd be like, okay, that's enough. That's acceptable. And then I'd be like, okay, out of those 7, I need at least 5 of them to come back to me. And I would do that until I got 5, and they'd be like, okay, at least 4 have to come back.
This is you restarting the game.
This is me reloading and then looking at and seeing the menu thing that happens every time you start this game where it's like, oh, an error has occurred, unable to connect to Outer World services. Error has occurred, unable to connect. Oh, no, it's fucking gone. Patch it in so that I don't have to see that fucking message every time I reload your game to get this stupid random number generator trophy taken care of. My God. It's sick. It's fucking sick. And it's either that or I find this fucking dude somewhere in the, in the world, this giant fucking world. I find this guy. Or I play it again and beat the bosses on hard, which is not going to happen. So, I did it. It took a while. It took a lot longer than it should have to do that, but I think my total time was like 64 hours or something for the platinum for Lightning Returns.
Jesus.
And I believe my platinum time for Final Fantasy 13-2 was 59 hours, and then 13's was 110. So
okay.
So I've got I've put my time into the Lightning series.
My time.
Yeah.
There you go.
And I want out, and I am out. So there's that. So yeah, all done.
Oh my
Just
God.
waiting for you to knock the review out, and then guys, we're going to be back on Final Fantasy 14.
Yes.
Soon enough.
Yes. I can't.
You have
I'll be honest. I'm disappointed that I didn't beat Lightning Returns this week because I'm going to have a week of question marks ahead of me. So I don't know if I can guarantee that Lightning Returns will be beat by next time.
Yeah.
Yeah. I graduate and there's like a bunch of parties going on.
A bunch of parties.
I have to be there. I'm also moving out of your house tomorrow.
What?
So I won't have all my stuff like kind of set up. And I'm changing my sleep schedule from a graveyard schedule to a daytime schedule. I'm telling you, I don't know. I don't know if Lightning Returns is gonna be a solid bet. By the week after that, definitely.
All right. Well, I sure hope we get it done next week so that we can get on that 14.
I sure hope so too.
I sure hope so. Yeah. Although I mean, it sounds like we might not have time for 14 anyway. But what kind of a schedule are we looking at for Final Fantasy 14? You're the man with the schedule needs. So what you mentioned earlier. Before we did Nude Clan, you were thinking 2 days a week.
Yeah, I would do like when you get home from work. So you get here, and you'll probably be willing to hop on at around 5:30, is what I'm assuming.
Yeah.
Okay, I would say 5:30 to 10, or whenever you decide to go to bed. So what is that? 5:30 to 10:30?
Like 11 or so. Yeah.
5:30 to 11 twice a week. That's plenty of time in a game.
Are you thinking it's Tuesday, Thursday sound?
Tuesday, Thursday.
Sound good? Okay.
As far as I know, I'm going to try to get a job, and things may change.
All right.
I'm going to try to get a daytime job, though.
That'll be good. I'll probably be
like you wake up in the morning,
and then you go to work,
and then you come back, and there's still 8 hours left of the day.
Yeah.
Or 7.
Yeah, because of your stupid lunch that you have to take. These people. Yes, that'll be nice. All right, I think we can manage that. I'll probably play it a little bit more because I really want to get some of those high-end trophies done that are in the game. I want to move towards my platinum.
You do that
in FF14, so I'm gonna be on pretty often. And
I say twice a week instead of 3 times a week because of Nude Clan taking the third day.
Yeah.
To do video games, yeah.
All right.
And I don't, just things.
Yeah.
Things we can talk about off air.
Okay.
As far as, life scheduling and stuff like that.
That works. That works.
A whole new world is opening up. Anyway, let's talk about some Final Fantasy news, Schweiss. Let's do it. Right when?
Now. Are you, like during you saying now or after you saying now?
Now.
Okay, all right.
News. news. All right, so first up in news, Noctis and the other bros are apparently going to be in the Mistwalker game Terra Battle. And that starts on April 27th. So that was yesterday or the day before?
2 days ago.
2 days ago. So funny thing for me is the Mistwalker is the studio that's headed by Hironobu Sakaguchi.
The godfather of Final Fantasy, of course.
And now they're getting friendly again.
Yeah, you had an interesting theory before the podcast.
I think a buyout is in order soon. That's what I think. If Square Enix is the company I know and love.
No, here's what'll happen.
Cha-Ching.
They'll buy it out, and then shit'll hit the fan again. They'll put him in charge of a movie. It'll flop, and then he'll leave and create the studio titled Fog Trotter. And he'll do.
And he's gonna do another Final Fantasy game. Another Final Fantasy.
It'll be Last Adventure. Yeah, there you go. Last Quest.
So we already have Last Story.
Okay.
What's another word for final?
Ending Quest. That'll be the long running series he'll start out. Yeah.
Yeah.
It'll just get less and less creative.
To go with Lost Odyssey and Last Story.
Yes, exactly. And this will be from
Blue Dragon.
Fog Trotter Studios. That'll be a joy when that happens.
Okay. So Final Fantasy 14, I guess, is teaming up with Amazon. There's some qualifying items that you can get on Amazon. You have to pay at least $20, and you can get some in-game items for Final Fantasy 14.
Yeah. Emphasis on the can. It's a chance to earn in-game items from purchasing Amazon.
It's like a promotional code, and I think there's like certain things you can get with the code.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it's not quite a chance, but there's a chance that something may or may not be like eligible.
Okay, one of the things
as
that
far as a
looks
purchase.
like flying Cumulus Cloud mount. We never did the flying mounts in the game, so that's
not the flying mounts.
That's going to be interesting when we get into that.
Yeah.
That'll be exciting.
I'm sure that thing's buggy as hell.
Oh, I don't doubt.
Yeah, I doubt it. There's some more information released about Final Fantasy 14 characters when it comes with the new expansion called Stormblood. So I would scroll down here. You got Lise, Go Setsu, and there's some very cool artwork.
Goku there, yeah.
Yugiri as well, and Hein. Another Hein. Zonos Ye Galvis.
All right.
I'm sure I'm pronouncing all these right. Yotsuyu.
Does that? She looks kind of familiar, like a certain character from Final Fantasy 15. You know, a little bit of that. Gentiana there.
Fordola. And then there's some new artwork out.
All right, we got some
Dark
Dragoon,
Knight and
Paladin
and stuff like that. So those who can play Stormblood, do so.
Yeah.
Enjoy it.
We'll
be on there while Stormblood is coming out.
Yeah.
And we won't play it.
Yep. We'll be playing old school.
Speaking of not old school whatsoever, Final Fantasy 15 has added a special weapon, I guess, I think it might be DLC. I'm not entirely sure. Or as part of the update, it looks like.
Yeah.
But you can get... This is stupid. You can get a sword that looks like a DJ console, I guess. And it's... What is it called again? What's the dude?
Afrojack. We have a little trailer here. Let's watch this fucker. Let's see what this is about.
What's up? It's Afrojack, and I got a special announcement. As you might have known, Final Fantasy 15 and me did some work together, and I had a really close relationship together with Hanyo-san, the lead designer. And to surprise me, he made a little something called the Afro Sword. It's a sword based on DJ decks, and it deals extra damage, and it has its own special soundtrack. So every time you equip it, the sound will change. So check it out right now, and it's available through Active Time Quest. So check it out right now.
Okay, so we have to do the active time quests to get this, apparently.
And you get the special soundtrack with it. I didn't know that. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's... Yep, pretty cool.
Cha-ching.
Yeah, the game is
dead. Add the Coleman logo at the base.
Yeah, why not? No, they'll just add the Sony logo. It'll be a Sony board, Or not Sony, our very own.
Oh, the Behringer?
The Behringer, yeah. You know what? Because fuck it. Let's just see how many we can stuff into one game. Why not? It's not like it wasn't for sale anyways. Jesus. Okay, we have another really funny article here from Kotaku.
Fixed. I don't believe they fixed it.
Yeah, Square Enix fixed Vaughn's freaky abs in Final Fantasy XII, the Zodiac Age. I agree. They're not fixed. They're just less. It looks more like real muscle.
I guess it looks like real muscle, but it's so gross looking at the same time. So
yeah, I mean, we're seeing some.
It's pretty.
It's like meaty.
Defined.
Yeah, this guy, he's been working on tone and tone alone here, as far as I can tell. You can definitely see the difference in quality here, though. It looks pretty damn good. I'm stoked to play this game.
Yeah, you like looking at Vaughn's abs. You're stoked to look at Vaughn's abs.
Yeah, at least
PS4.
They look a little bit more real. I don't know. I agree, though. That is not what I would say fixed is. I would say, yeah, a little bit more. I don't know.
Speaking of Zodiac Age, we got a trailer for a game that came out 10 years ago.
Yeah, let's
in English this time.
Let's see what this is about.
I don't know. That game we played already? See if it's still super compressed.
You could destroy all of Evilise.
Yes, it is.
If you wished it.
Square Enix
and Cup Noodle present coming to a noodle aisle near you.
How not profitable ramen would be.
One of these days, I'll fly an airship of my own. Free to go where I will.
Those decrepit basking fools in Arcadia's tie my hands, and look what happens. I tell you, this country's obstinacy knows no bounds.
Your cage may have no bars, but it is a cage. The eyes of the Resistance watch unblinking.
Take me to Balthier. Even caged birds need wings.
Man.
A fine, bloody banquet.
Yeah, it's totally super compressed.
I'm getting her out. I need your help.
This is something that I have to do.
Like, it sounds like our podcast.
I'm leaving you with a Marcus.
Just as His Excellency had hoped.
Your Majesty
Okay, all right.
will not disappoint. Ever quick to spurn an honorable surrender.
The geese fight. Jesus.
She will not rest until her revenge is full wrought.
Tons of plot.
Yeah.
Lots of plot.
You know, I think we get the idea.
Okay, yeah.
Game
It's
looks
Final
great.
Fantasy 12 still?
Yes.
Oh, man.
This is
That was
still
some other game.
This is still Jesus. It's still Final Fantasy 12. I still think it's weird that they keep releasing trailers for it, but I guess do what you do.
No, make people excited for it who didn't play it before, I guess.
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay, so the biggest piece of news this week is that Square Enix it looks like Final Fantasy VII and Kingdom Hearts 3 are not going to be released this year, like a lot of people had hoped.
Oh, wait. Final Fantasy VII came out in 1997, though.
7 Remake.
Oh.
And we know this because they put out a PowerPoint to either stockholders or to future stockholders, showing their projected projects, and it said the FF7 remake and Kingdom Hearts 3 were in 2018 and beyond column.
And beyond.
Yep,
Oh
2018 and
my
beyond's
God.
column of stuff that they were going to sell. So,
All right. Well, I mean, dude. Maybe Kingdom Hearts 3 will be the last game we play. I mean, we joked about it before, and then it became okay, but really, it's going to be Bravely second. But really, it might actually be Kingdom Hearts 3.
I don't know. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens. But yeah, not this year.
No.
So
that's
I
unfortunate.
would say I was surprised, but it wasn't.
It almost seemed natural for it to be released at its 30-year mark, or 20. Yeah, whatever. Yeah. Jesus, the year, the 7, the ending in 7 year, whatever decade it is. I feel like they always want to try to do a big deal. I'm sure in 10 years from now they will probably want to do something for 7 yet again. Because
and
they
then
did that.
Put it off.
Yeah, and then put it off till 2028 instead because they can't handle it. But
right.
Seriously though, it felt like that was the natural course of action, the way of things. But I guess they just aren't ready for it. I don't know why.
It's whatever the development is.
We had Crisis Core, Before Crisis, Dirge of Cerberus, and Advent Children for the 10-year, and for the 20-year we get a game in a year. Like, I don't know. Kind of disappointing. Not that I am like dying for the remake. It just seems like, I don't know, a missed opportunity to me. Like this is a 20-year hype. But
do you think that they'll make an FF8 remake in 2 years as well, and then put that off?
No, I think they'll put that off forever.
It'll be the 20th anniversary of 1999.
Yeah. Yeah.
In 2 years.
Yeah.
Speaking of, it was a really rough transition. Okay, you know what? Speaking of, we're gonna do History of Square Enix Part 8.
Oh, okay. I was trying to figure out
1999.
I was trying to figure out what in God's name you were talking about. I'm like, where are you going with this thing?
It will be the 20th anniversary of FF8 in 2 years.
It's true. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. Just a little less than 2 years, actually.
Just a little.
Let's. Okay, so last time we got all the way up to February of 1999 when Final Fantasy VIII was released. And this was, of course, after Square Enix kind of revitalized with Final Fantasy VII. They had a golden age through the Super NES era, and then they took a huge risk, and it paid off with Final Fantasy VII. And through the early PlayStation days, they just were
crushing it.
Yeah. And they're continuing to crush it in 1999. So throughout the 90s, as both Square and Enix were pumping out hits, especially Square, who were on top of the world, both companies were gaining sufficient capital to begin expanding, opening subsidiary companies around the world. In 1994, Square Co. Limited stock was registered with the Japanese Security Exchange for trading, and in 1995, Square LA Incorporated was established, and in 1998, they created Square Europe Limited. On the Enix side of things, 1999 would see Enix Corp on the Tokyo Stock Exchange, and later in that same year, Enix America would be founded, and I think in 2000, which we probably won't cover next time, just because it's just a little minor note, Square also gets on the Tokyo Stock Exchange, and they're both officially like publicly traded companies.
Okay.
So in our history of the Square Enix series, we have arrived at the year of 1999 after a big slew of successes from 1997 and 1998. Square would start the year with a quiet release of a little-known shoot-'em-up game called IS Internal Section, which I believe was only put out in Japan, and there's like no information on it. And this is going to be a little bit of a pattern for today's episode. There's a lot of only put out in Japan, and there's no information on it in the English language.
Okay.
Enix would start 1999 by publishing a now forgotten game created by a company called Produce called Goo Goo Trops.
Goo Goo Trops.
Goo Goo Trops. Which I can't imagine a Japanese person saying. But I can't say it. Gugutrops.
Yeah.
In fact, 1999 would be kind of a low yield year for Enix. They only published 8 games through 1999, and this is small, only in comparison to Square. 8 games in 1999, and I can only find information on 3 of these games, which seem to be the only kind of successful ones. I have to speculate because I couldn't find the information, but I believe that Enix started its relationship with Eidos when they published Tomb Raider 3 in Japan.
Okay. Yeah.
So they set up their publishing deal, and they got the rights to Tomb Raider 3 in Japan, at least. And I believe it was somewhat successful there. The game would receive a 30 out of 40 on Famitsu, which is okay. And I believe that Enix would continue to be the publisher of Eidos games in Japan from then on, but I'm not 100% sure on that. It seems like that was the case until Square Enix, of course, recently just straight up bought them out.
Right.
That's recent history. So Mystic Arc would be another game. This is called Mystic Arc Mabaroshi Gekijo. This is an Enix game.
Gekijo.
Yeah, it would be one of those now forgotten games as well that I can't find any information on. Followed by, and we talked about this last time, Bust a Groove 2.
Oh, yeah.
The amazing follow-up to Bust a Groove 1.
Who could forget?
In June of 1999, Enix released a game called Sagare Ijiri, and then a game called, oh my god, these fucking names, dude. Popey Tanks.
Poopy Tanks.
Poopy Tanks.
Yeah.
Oh, Poppin' Tanks.
Wow.
Sorry, my handwriting was actually...
Tanks.
My handwriting was...
I'm going to pop that tank.
Look at that. It looks like poopy and then like a squished line.
Yeah, it does.
But it's poppin'. There's the apostrophe is not a dot on an I.
All right, so
which is what I thought it was. Poppin' tanks. Man, I'm going to pop some tanks in this bitch.
Yeah.
Poppin' tanks on your ass, bitch.
Yeah.
Okay. Poppin' tanks and
Disturbed, ladies and
Paku Gaki Showtime.
Oh, wow.
Which they released in July.
I do remember Paku Gaki Showtime. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm sure you do. The last game Enix would release that year would be a Dragon Quest spin-off called Torneko: The Last Hope, and they released that in September. So Torneko was actually like the only game of that year that was a legitimate success for Enix, I would say.
And it's probably the least ridiculously named one.
But compared to where the company had been in the last couple of years, Torneko's 578,000 copies that it sold would not be enough to keep the growing Enix beast fed. Apparently, Torneko was a Dragon Quest spinoff.
Oh, okay.
So that's why it was somewhat successful, but
right, it had that following.
Even then, they didn't have a large Dragon Quest game, and that's actually kind of important. 1999 was a slump for Enix, and they had planned to release Dragon Quest VII in 1999, and had spent a large amount of money advertising for Dragon Quest VII, which initially had a 1999 release date. But it was tragically delayed for the company and would, due to a giant drop of profits for that year, cause Enix's stock to drop 40%.
Oh, geez.
In 2000, I believe. So 1999 and thus early 2000 would be very tough for Enix. Square, though, would continue their new golden streak on the PlayStation 1. So Final Fantasy VIII, of course, massive success.
Right,
that hit shelves in February and eventually would sell over 8 million copies, which is massive for a Final Fantasy game. Square was also going strong with their re-releases of old titles. That a lot of 1999 saw these. So there was the Final Fantasy collection.
Yep.
There was the PlayStation 1 version of Final Fantasy VI.
Awful. Yes.
that was separate from the Final Fantasy Anthology, which was also released that year.
Actually, the 6 one's not awful. The other one, not great.
The FF4 one.
4 and 5.
That one is that one's the Final Fantasy collection.
Yeah.
Chrono Trigger's re-release.
Mm-hmm.
There was a Chocobo Collection, which re-released a game that came out in 1999 as part of a package. All those re-releases 1999.
Yeah, that's a big deal. I mean, we've got Final Fantasy VI.
Some of those were disc. Japanese only, and some of them were in the United States.
Final Fantasy 1, 2, 6
places.
Chrono, all on disc. PS1. That's big.
It's huge. I have, I think Anthology, you can still get brand new copies of it, kind of like beautifully sealed.
Yeah.
It's a good collection. I actually like that collection a lot.
The 6 and Chrono?
The 5 and 6.
Oh, 5 and...
Yeah, it's 4 and Chrono.
No, it's 4 and 5.
It's 4 and Chrono is Final Fantasy Collection. I promise you. I will bet you $100. Final Fantasy Anthology is 5 and 6.
Yeah?
Yeah.
$100.
$100. Do you want to take it? Because you can go on Amazon right now and look.
I have the copies right behind me.
I know. It's Final Fantasy 5 and 6. Do you want to take the bet?
I'll go 20.
Okay.
$20.
All right.
I'm going.
$20. Schweiss is going to check Final Fantasy Anthology and see if it has 5 and 6 on it, which it does. This is live. This is exciting. What great $20 paycheck can Joe get next? It also comes on the Black Label edition with the soundtrack of Final Fantasy V and Final Fantasy VI.
Actually, I don't know where it's at. Wait, did you say it's Anthology?
Anthology is 5 and 6.
You're right.
So wait, can you say that into the microphone, please?
I didn't shake on it, but...
Oh, come on, what are you talking about?
But it is. I was thinking 6 and Chrono would be a natural fit. But I guess I was wrong. Yeah, it's 4.
4 and Chrono are Final Fantasy Collection, which I always thought was funny because only one Final Fantasy game is on there.
Yeah.
And it's called the Final Fantasy Collection.
Why? And I don't understand why it wouldn't be FF6. I could have sworn to God it was.
It's not. Sorry.
All right. I'm sorry. All right, fine.
It's just the way the $20 cookie crumbles.
Yeah, apparently.
Okay. I'm excited to get that $20. Okay, here's a list of original games published by Square Co., and we'll go through these. So this was Cyber Org. This was an English language space opera 3D action game set in a futuristic world with puzzles and simple fighting mechanics, apparently. And it did okay. After that, they did Chocobo Racing, which was a game we've been asked to play a few times.
Yeah, I actually found a copy of that. Is it? No, it was Chocobo Racing. That's the one I picked up on PS1.
Yeah.
I won't bet you that it's Chocobo Racing, but...
we might, I'll be honest, if we're going to count Kingdom Hearts, we might have to count that game.
What about Chocobo Dungeon?
I don't know about that.
That's like a legit RPG, I believe. If I remember correctly.
Well, I guess we'll have to argue about it later because we'll have to find more information on these games. But the thing is that we're doing Kingdom Hearts because it has Final Fantasy characters in it.
Yeah.
I believe Chocobo Dungeon, it has a Final Fantasy mascot in Chocobo Dungeon, I believe it has a Final Fantasy mascot. I don't think it has any Final Fantasy characters. But Chocobo Racing, I think, has Final Fantasy characters in it. So we might have to do Chocobo Racing.
Yeah, as a technicality, I suppose.
Maybe, perhaps. Possiblizzle. And if you have it, then, yeah.
Yeah, it wouldn't be a big deal.
Might as well. So this is apparently a Mario Kart sort of thing.
Yeah, I'm sure.
With Final Fantasy
every
mascots
racing
in it.
Every fucking game at this time was like, let's make a Mario Kart. There's CTR, there's Mario Kart, there's this one.
So this was successful, but it was not very liked by critics. They didn't really care for it. Apparently it was just a kind of a lesser game. Saga Frontier 2, which was apparently an experimental departure from the rest of the Saga series. Square would abandon CGI cutscenes.
Oh, wow.
In this for actual hand-drawn animation.
Oh, that's kind of cool sounding.
Yeah. I thought that was a really cool detail. I don't know if Zestiria has hand-drawn cutscenes in it. Like, I think they might be computer but they look hand-drawn,
Yeah.
But apparently these were actually hand-drawn. And that would be a pretty big success for the Saga series. That would be 675,000 copies in Japan.
Nice.
Now, Square's only failure was a game called Racing Lagoon.
Racing Lagoon.
And apparently it was a game that combined street racing and RPG elements.
That sounds awful.
Gran Turismo RPG.
Okay, maybe not awful. It sounds bizarre.
It does sound bizarre. Not much of a hit. It sold 100,000 copies, I believe. I think it still might have done okay for them, but it was definitely the lowest game of that year for them. And it was kind of ripped apart by critics.
Even the great Famitsu didn't like it.
Even the great Famitsu did not.
Every Final Fantasy gets a 40 out of 40 Famitsu.
That is not true. You know that's not true. Come on. They always get 39s.
Yeah, the 39, if not
There's
40.
always the one interview because it's based on 4 people's reviews. So it's out of 40. So one person gave it 9 out of 10.
Yeah.
So one dickhole is like, fuck that game.
Well, he's not fuck that game. He's like, could have been better.
I guess you're right.
It's the Craig.
Right.
That's who it is. He's like,
I think was it FF12 got a 39?
I
want to say FF13 got like a 38, maybe. Like it wasn't.
I'm not sure. I'll look it up. Actually,
it was pretty close to a 40 though. Legend of Mana. You remember this game? I think you actually have it on the shelf, and we have to play it at some point. This is the 4th game in the Mana series, which started as part of the Final Fantasy series, so have to play it. And this would sell 700,000 copies, despite being delayed for technical reasons, and despite the fact that it actually had... I mean, it didn't have bad reviews, but it had some mixed reviews. It was praised for being... It is praised now, kind of, for being like one of the most impressive 2D games ever, since... Actually, what they opted for when they did Legend of Mana was like really complex and ornate 2D graphics instead of doing the regular 3D graphics that were commonplace on the original PlayStation. So that's something I've never played a second of Legend of Mana, and I want to.
Okay.
Have you played any of it, or do you just own it for the show?
I just own it because I went through a kick where I really wanted to get old school Square Enix games just to have as a collection thing, and that was one of them I found. By the way, quick correction: Final Fantasy XII does have a perfect Famitsu review.
It has a 40 out of 40.
Yes, and so does Final Fantasy 13 too. Those are the Those are the two.
Really?
Yeah, those are the two Final Fantasy games. 13 has a near perfect score. I'm not sure exactly what that means, but so well reviewed.
Like 39, maybe.
Yeah, well reviewed series from Famitsu.
Yeah, but Famitsu, I always, it's hard. Like when their user polls of greatest games of all time is like they've never played a game older than 5 years ago. It's like Watch Mojo's top 10 lists.
Yeah, it's like number 2 is actually the greatest thing that's ever existed. Number 1 is like top 20, maybe.
It's like if you're watching a Watch Mojo thing, it's like, oh, it's going to be either Star Wars or Star Wars is going to show up on this list at some point.
Yeah.
And fucking never something before 1977. Never.
Yeah.
It's... fucking fuck Watch Mojo. God, they're awful.
Yeah, they're annoying. Like, what do you think of our list?
And they have those, like, they have titles that pull me in, too. That's the problem. Their clickbait kind of works on me. That's why I know them so well.
Yeah.
It's because I like, fine, top 10 movies that blah, blah, blah. And I'm like...
I like their lists, though. I do like what they include, but I never agree with the top pick, ever. Ever in my life.
They have such a narrow worldview when it comes to their movies. It's mainstream Hollywood movies, 1997 and on.
Yeah.
That's it. That is it.
Well, maybe the people who run it, I mean, were born in, like... 91, and they remember those movies.
Shitty. It's so fucking shitty, dude. God. Fuck.
Famitsu Mojo.
Famitsu Mojo. Yeah. Front Mission 3. So this would continue Square's mech tactical RPG series, which sounds a lot like a certain game I hate more than any other game I hate recently. Craig is saying it's not like it at all, but it has mechs in it, so I don't want anything to goddamn do with this game. It would sell moderately well, but seen as a step down for the series, apparently. I've never played it.
Speaking of... never mind, I'll leave it alone. Keep going. I was going to say, speaking of not on the show today, Caleb Craig.
Oh, okay. Wow. Okay. Front mission.
Drag that segment out
Threads
as long
of
as I
Fate.
can.
Threads of Fate is the next one. No numbers for this platform game, but apparently it was a big hit. It's like a platform game with a story in it. That's all the information I could get for it. And it did well in Japan. Now, the biggest critical success, it didn't sell the most copies. That was obviously Final Fantasy VIII. The biggest critical success for Square in 1999 was a little-known game called Chrono Cross.
Nice.
Which was sort of a sequel, sort of a spin-off to Chrono Trigger. This would sell 1.5 million copies. And although it was extremely well reviewed by critics, some of the fans of Chrono Trigger were disappointed in how apparently different it is from Chrono Trigger. So I'm excited to get to Chrono Cross.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm excited to get to Chrono Cross as well because it actually came out on the PS1, unlike the Chrono Trigger that I have that's on the PS1, but apparently not a very good port. So I don't know how I want to go about that, but you know.
Well, there's like the DS version now, right? The 3DS one.
Yeah, I suppose, and that's actually supposed to be a really good version of the game. So we could do that. I have the 3DS.
I'll just wait till we get there.
Yeah, well, maybe we'll do like a question from us to you, where it's like, hey, what's the best version of this game?
You know, that 5 years down the road, when we actually hit that.
Yeah, when we play the game, if we even play it, we might just get pissed off at people asking us to play it and just be like, you know what?
Yep.
No. How about no?
How about no? All right, so Square's last game of 1999 would not be as critically loved as the first game in its series, but would still prove to be a big hit with just over 1 million copies sold. And we will be reviewing this on Nude Clan soon, and this game was Parasite Eve 2. Schweiss, how you doing in Parasite Eve 2, by the way?
You know, it's a survival horror game from the PlayStation 1. That's all I can say.
That's all you can say? Does it play like Resident Evil?
Yes, it does.
How different is it from the first one?
You have Parasite.
I can't imagine.
You have Parasite abilities, but you have tank controls. And I know you don't really know what that means, but it's like you're controlling a tank, but instead of a tank, it's a person. You have to like turn left and right, and then you can walk forward. Kind of a thing. Like this one has a little, it's like in between Resident Evil 1 and 2. You can kind of move while you're walking forward. You can move your tank slightly, list lazily to the left and or right. And that's how the game plays. And you have an auto-targeting thing. It is not like the first game. And it's not necessarily in a good way. But I'm gonna have
I can't fathom this. I'm gonna have to play it.
I'll load it up and let you try it, and I'll say this is what we mean when we say tank controls.
Jeez,
it's like if it serves a function though. Like this is something I was talking to Craig about a little bit. Like survival horror, it's clunky intentionally to make it freaky, to make it a pain in the ass. Resident Evil 4 has intensity because you can't move and shoot. That's what makes it intense. If you could move and shoot, there wouldn't be any sort of intense buildup. You wouldn't fear the chainsaw wielding maniac chasing you because you can just walk. You can walk away. But since you can't, it's terrifying and difficult and ridiculous.
I'm sorry, I can only stand and shoot.
Yeah. Yeah. And in 5 you can slowly move and shoot, but you know.
That's what I hated about that fourth game. I'm sick of people telling me to play it because I'm like, I tried playing it. I cannot stand Resident Evil 4.
Yeah.
Because I can't stand just standing there.
Yeah.
It is so counterintuitive to everything I've ever done in a shooter, which is run the fuck around and spray. And this thing's like, hold on, there's a shitload of people chasing me, but let me line up my sights here.
That's right.
While, surrounded on all sides by
ammo is
zombies.
important. You can't just be spray and pray, man.
And you have to do headshots. Because otherwise you're fucked. Because you're going to be using up too much fucking ammo otherwise.
Yeah.
And you're going to be shit out of luck, and it's going to be even worse for you than just I can't stand it. And it's too hard. It's too fucking hard for me in the beginning of the game.
Yeah. It doesn't get easier, I'll tell you that.
I know it doesn't. That's why I'm not going to play Resident Evil 4. It's official. Not going to play it.
Well,
I have played it. I'm not going to play it to completion.
You got to be careful. You got to be careful saying stuff like that.
Nope, I won't do it.
Cameron's got a game review.
You can't force me to do it.
Review with you coming up on Nude Clan, and I don't know.
You know what the nominations are going to be? Fable 2 on PC, Fable 2 on Xbox.
Yeah.
And because no one ever votes for my Harry Potter games, it's going to be Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone and Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets.
All right.
So it's going to be. And then watch as Fable 2 actually gets the vote.
We'll see.
Yeah. Is this like Nude Clan gerrymandering?
Yeah. I think Resident Evil 4 might make its way in there. I could probably talk Cameron into it.
Oh, that's not even... Cameron, you'll die.
Yeah.
To sum up, 1999, just like the 2 years before it, was an incredible year for Square, and with a handful of hits and only one game, which was Racing Lagoon, seen as less than successful. Enix was in a bit of a slump, but hope was on the horizon with Dragon Quest VII around the corner.
Wait, lowercase hope or uppercase hope?
Lowercase hope.
Okay, thank you.
Hope was on the horizon with Dragon Quest VII. You know what was also around the corner? After 1999?
The turn of the century? I don't know.
The PlayStation 2.
Oh, okay.
Hell yeah, dude.
Y2K, the end of the world?
PlayStation 2 would be important for both of those companies.
Very, yeah. I mean, biggest console of all time.
That's right.
So far.
So next time we'll get into the year 2000, and we'll see how far I can get in there. There were so many games released in 99 from Square.
Yeah.
It was nuts.
Yeah, I mean, crap, we've got FF9 coming here. We've got one of the most beloved games in the whole series.
For our listener base, yeah. Seems to be the case.
It's one of the highest reviewed. I mean, it doesn't have the perfect score that Final Fantasy 12 has.
Yeah.
Final Fantasy 7 only got like a 37, I think I saw on Famitsu.
Wow.
37 or 38.
Wow.
Not as impressed.
That's why I don't give a shit what Famitsu says.
I honestly, dude, I don't either. I mean, I like the fact that they have a very small list of perfect games.
It takes all four of their reviewers giving it a 10 out of 10 to do so.
Yeah, of course.
That's like trying to get a perfect game on Nude Clan.
Yeah, that's impossible.
It is impossible.
Oh, we've got, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4 Zelda games on there, though. So I guess they like Zelda more than they like Final Fantasy.
How dare they?
Metal Gear Solid, there's a couple games on there.
Vagrant Stories on there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Grand Theft Auto 5. Nice. Okay, so they've got good games on there. I won't take that away from them, but I don't know, man. Famitsu, it just seems way too high. You know what I mean? JoJo's Bizarre Adventure All-Star Battle.
40 out of 40.
That's right.
Whatever
Perfect.
the fuck that thing is.
Tremendous, this game.
Yeah.
So, you know.
That sounds like one of those Japanese-only games.
Yeah, it does.
It's not? Wait, you know about this game, Craig? What do you know about it?
It's a fighting game that's based off of an anime.
He said it's
a fighting game based off of an anime.
That sounds pretty
And it
Japanese,
got 40 out of 40. You know how many games they gave 40 out of 40 to? It's one of them, Craig. It's one of the few. The proud. The 40 out of 40 on Famitsu.
They have 24 games that they've ever given 40 out of 42. So that's pretty impressive.
That's pretty impressive.
You know, that's kudos to those, and awesome for Final Fantasy 12 and Final Fantasy 13 too on their perfect scores. But we won't get into that for a long time. I mean, 2006, there's a lot of shit that happens from Square's point of view from 2000 on, I would say.
Especially in July of 2001.
Yeah, a lot of stuff going down. So
a lot of things go down in 2001.
Yeah, I'm excited to learn about that all over again.
Yeah. Okay, let's do some questions.
Alrighty, let's do it.
Questions for us. We would like to hear from you. You or us. Or contact us on Twitter. Get on and ask your questions. Today, this is the question segment. Asking you will receive.
So we start out this day's question segment with Final Fantasy HD Collection from IRAT. Okay, this is a hypothetical question. If, and that's a big if, Square Enix makes an HD collection of FF1 through 9 on PS4, would you play all of them again?
Is this actually a question for me and Schweiss? Because the answer is not for a long ass time.
A long ass time?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's all relative, ass time versus
non-ass time.
Yeah, time that we probably experience. But there is a the problem. Okay, so we have this show, right? This show where we set out stupidly to play every single Final Fantasy game ever released in the US at least, and then why would we stop that just to play an HD version of games that we were already put off on the list?
Yeah, I think the answer to this is yes, but not for a while, like you said.
Right.
It's we don't really have the luxury of time like you guys do. Time in the Ultima world moves very slowly. We trudge through these things, and I say trudge. We love it, right?
Most of the time,
yeah. Unless it's Dirge or Revenant Wings, we love it.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of time that goes into it, and I think that replaying FF1 through 9, while this
just
would be
because
great,
there's an HD thing, no.
I will replay FF12 for that, though. So,
well, that's your prerogative.
But that's also only one game. This is 9 games here we're talking. I would like to have it on PS4. I would love to play them at some point, but that would be after the podcast goes up to that great, land of
the podcast heaven.
Podcast heaven, yeah. It's kind of like Robot Heaven, but not directed by Michael Bay and not awful. So when that day comes, sure, I will play Final Fantasy 1 through 9. I would love to platinum them if they had that available, of course. And we'd see how it goes. So I haven't done that for 7
I would
yet,
love to play them, but I would only do it after the show was done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
That's my in general. Would you ever replay a Final Fantasy game at the moment? Yeah, sure. I'll play my favorites over after I'm done.
Yeah, there's too much on the road ahead to look back.
It's too much
at this time. Black Mage Justin says, without a doubt, at least every 2 years I go back and play my favorite FFs, 9 and 6. And even though it's not my favorite, I will go back and play 8 every now and again. Steven says, nah, I already have all my favorites and a PS1, so he's sticking it to the man and playing his OG version.
Good to go.
Yeah.
All right. I would actually do the next question first and then save that one for last.
Oh, save it. Don't delete it.
Yeah.
Cool.
It's okay.
Tabletop Final Fantasy. This is from MagJam. I apologize if this has been asked before. I thought actually that I had already. But have y'all considered adding a Dungeons and Dragons style Final Fantasy game to your list? I'm talking dice, character sheets, and glory. Obviously, it wouldn't be a licensed game, and considering Joseph's stance on mobile games, probably not one of those.
Just my stance.
But if you do, and you figure out a way to do it online, sign me up. Okay, so
do these exist?
This is us creating our own tabletop Final Fantasy.
Isn't that just Dungeons and Dragons? Just it's an RPG, right?
I think we got it. I think we've got it the wrong way here. I think Final Fantasy is just Dungeons and Dragons,
right?
So yes,
the digital version of Dungeons and Dragons.
We could. This would be kind of cool. We could do Ultima Final Fantasy presents Final Fantasy
D&D,
and Dragons,
but. We'll just call it Final Fantasy Tabletop.
But
Final really,
Fantasy,
we're just playing D&D. Which, by the way, we tried and failed playing D&D.
Yeah.
One time when we were camping, I still have the beginner's thing.
Yeah.
We still have to try it one day. We still have to try a D&D for real.
I think we
need someone to be a dungeon master who knows what they're doing.
Yeah, I mean, I can come up with
I know Gammon Stark, he offered to do it.
Yeah, he did.
And we didn't go through with it. So
no, we
just haven't done it.
We haven't. I think that would be kind of cool, though. I mean, we just create our little FF14 or FF11 characters, and we go out into the world, you know?
I guess.
We should make it just as barren and empty as Final Fantasy 11 is, too.
No.
You roll your dice 60 times, and then you find an encounter.
I'm interested in playing it. I still don't understand it. I watched a whole game of it being played on YouTube as well, and I still didn't get it.
Yeah.
I still didn't understand what the fucking DM does, because the rules are very,
very loose.
They're very watery, and they change, and it's just odd.
Yeah.
I've never played a D&D game.
Yeah, I mean,
properly.
I guess technically neither have I.
We just Final Fantasy Tabletop.
Yeah, we just kind of played our own little thing that we had and went from there. And I think we only played like one or two quests or something like that. And it was, I don't even know if we were playing it right. I don't even know if there is a right way to play it.
Don't know.
It's just. It's crazy. But if we were to do it, it would basically just be a Dungeons and Dragons game, to be honest. So I don't know. I think it'd be cool. But honestly,
you could take our FF14 or 11.
I was actually just thinking that I would do El Husk, and we could do El Husk and New Boreas. And we just do our adventures.
That's right. That wouldn't be a bad episode idea.
Yeah. That would be fun, actually. Yeah. We should totally do that. Just get like the D&D.
We need a DM, though. We need a DM that knows what they're doing and can explain shit.
All right, you know what? Maybe we should do that. Maybe we should have one of the listeners come on over Skype as a DM, and I'm El Husk, you're New Boreas, and we just do a tabletop Final Fantasy game.
Okay.
I think that'd be sweet.
All right.
Bring in like the some of the bosses from 11.
We'll put the music soundtrack in the background too.
Yeah.
So if we get in a battle, it'll go to dun, 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 or whatever the theme is for the day.
That would be that's actually a really good idea.
Okay.
Anyway, we have another one here from Fruff. It's titled "The Early Days of the Podcast." So I got bored at work and decided to go back and listen to some of the early episodes. Now that you have been doing this a while, I was wondering what those early days were like. How many episodes did it take you to build up a decent enough following?
What?
Decent enough following.
What does decent enough mean? That's decent enough.
Yeah.
Does decent enough mean?
I don't know.
We started hearing from people a lot between like the FF4 and FF5 episodes.
Yeah, well, I mean, there was a large chunk of time.
Well, yeah, there were just more people, and so we actually got like when we started actually getting feedback on our episodes, probably around then.
Yeah. It started to really pick up last year, though. I would say last year was big, like really big, like fucking ridiculous. And you know, it's just a long burn. I mean, you get people with listeners. I mean, if you want to listen to a podcast that or episodes on Final Fantasy, I mean, we have a lot of episodes, but we really our review episodes. I mean, we have like 20 or so review episodes. So if you're just going through for review episodes, like you're going to hit those and then you'll leave the podcast for a while and then come back when there's more review stuff.
Sure.
If you're one of those listeners. So building up a decent enough following. I think we have a pretty solid following now. I don't know when it started becoming decent enough. That's kind of an awkward way to put it.
Like when we actually had questions every week.
Yeah, well, whenever Void found the podcast, I would say is when that happened. So
that's right.
It's been a while.
He had to go make his own podcast. Now he ignores us.
Yeah, now his is like huge. So he's like, So if you want to, it's a Geek to Geek podcast, by the way. If you want to, hear what.
Check out the guy who kept us alive.
The guy that kept us alive. Don't worry about his ranking for Final Fantasy, but he's got a pretty decent show.
He kept the show going because he gave us content.
He did, yeah. I would say that's when the following started to get a little bigger, is around him. Yeah. Was there ever a time that you considered quitting? I would say FF11, the first little bit, I was like, dude, I am burned. And it hurt because I was streaming it. It was like my first foray into actually streaming games, and it was this barren wasteland, and I didn't know where to go. And I felt like a jackass, like playing this game and just running around like, I don't know. And they're like, hey, you're going to equip a sword? I'm like, I don't know. What's the button for the menu? Like, I don't know anything in this game. Anything. I don't even know how to pause, for God's sakes. I have to Alt-Tab to log out, and it will log you out, by the way, because the game client crashes when you click on anything that's not the game. It's very selfish.
That's across all user experiences. It's not just your computer.
Oh, yeah, I know. Yeah, if you play on the original and you don't download any illegal software to play FF11 on... Windower, yes, please God, use Windower. If you don't, and you're trying to use a wiki and you click off at the screen, it'll crash the game. And you'll have to log back in. Oh, and you'll already still be logged in according to the system, so you have to wait like 5 minutes until you can log back in. So yes, FF11, I wanted to not do it anymore because it was painful. Personally, that's probably the only time I've ever probably wanted to quit. And that's it for me.
There are days, and this might eventually happen. We'll see what happens in the future. Nowhere soon that I can see. There are days when I go, we need to stop the weekly episodes and just do reviews.
Yeah.
There are days when I do that. Like, I think that thought. And so I guess this is me putting it forward to the listeners. Like, someday when we're out of spotlights and out of history of Square Enix and out of mythologies and out of like side stories that Square Enix put out, when that day happens, it might just be a special episode every once in a while and only reviews. So we would just be like, oh, see you in a month when we're done with the game, and then we would review the game.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because Nude Clan as well, so it's not like you don't hear from us week to week. If you listen to both shows, it's like, I don't know.
So are you saying now is the time you're considering quitting? Is that what this is?
I never know. This isn't quitting. This would be changing the show format so that it wasn't weekly.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a...
I have thought about that for the last, 3 months.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I could see that if we do start running out of stuff to do. I mean, there's no reason to have an empty show. Yeah, it's just bad content.
Right.
So
I have thought about that. And I would certainly like to hear your guys' thoughts on that. But that all depends on, how life goes.
Well, it also depends on how the content looks. I mean, if we have stuff to do episodes on, if we have the Final Fantasy X book, we have the extra stuff in between 13.2 and Lightning Returns, we have... Once we go through all of that content, then we can probably talk.
I don't know if we'll be doing weekly episodes by the time we're doing Crystal Chronicles.
Yeah, I don't know.
But that'll be... Yeah, who knows? But the show we will beat all these goddamn games and do reviews on them unless one of us dies.
Yeah.
So, and we might kill each other. That might be another thing.
Maybe. Well. That does crop up every couple months. There's this just looming cloud of hatred that flies over us both. Probably makes for great listening.
Probably does, yeah.
Yeah. So no other time besides that, though?
No, I never thought about quitting, no.
FF11 didn't make you want to, like, stick a shoestring on a shotgun?
No, because, I mean, here were the options for FF11 was like, well, we play it as long as I remember these conversations, and we probably had them on the show. We play it just as long as we would a normal Final Fantasy game and call it quits. So we play it for 30 hours, and that's it. We wouldn't beat the story or anything. Ha! Ha!
30 hours, huh? We hit that a few fucking times.
So yeah, that was one of them.
All right, yeah.
That was one of the things we were talking about doing. Like, I never thought that we would quit with FF11.
I was seriously gonna like call you and be like, dude, I'm not fucking playing this game. I'm not playing this fucking game. I won't do
awful,
it.
Dude.
I can't play it.
It's such a hard start to that thing.
It is, but then afterwards you're like, oh, it's not that bad. I understand now. Okay.
We did it. That's why that's another reason why at the end of this show, I don't want to do like a recap where we do the main 15 games again, because that would be the day when you like give up and go, I'm not playing FF11 or 14 through the campaign again.
Yeah.
I'm not going to do it.
Yeah.
Just not going to do it.
Yeah, I'll maybe play new stuff, but that's it. That's a maybe. Yeah. If I ever marathoned it, I'd leave those two out, I think. It's too much, man.
You would marathon the single player main series.
Yeah, I think so.
So you just skip 11 to 14.
I think so, yeah. It's just, I don't know. It's just too much. Who was the first listener that you can remember corresponding with?
Gage Klein.
Gage Klein, yeah. We did
Gage Klein did something, and he was the first one to contact us.
Yeah, we gave him a mug.
And we still see him every once in a while.
Yeah, he comes on the stream, yeah. And the Twitter. So
Jimmy Allback was pretty shortly after that. And some other people that have probably disappeared over time.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
We say disappear, really, we just mean they aren't as active. I mean, a lot of them are still there.
Yeah.
And they pop up every once in a while when we're like, hey, man, what happened to this guy? And then, like, they'll tweet me.
Gage Klein was episode 3.
Yeah, it was way early, dude. Yeah. And he was totally watching me play Lightning Returns. Like,
okay.
It's crazy. I'm like, dude, you're still alive? Like, you haven't, like, died of old age?
Oh, I was trying to get a hold of, and I want to see if he's still out there, by the way. I was trying to get a hold of Minzara. So I went on the Discord channel this morning, and I was like, oh, first off, he changed his name. Second off, I can't message him directly.
Yeah, we want to get feedback on the movie.
I was like, oh, I made this movie, which you guys will be able to check out soon. Got to figure that out in the next week. I made this movie. I'm going to try to get, he's in the industry. He's an editor at like this place that makes commercials. And so I was like, I want to get his professional opinion on this short, see what I can do with it. And it's just, I couldn't get a hold of him. I was like, yeah, I guess he's just one of the people that just drops off.
Yeah.
Which is fine. I mean, that's what happens.
Yeah, it's not a biggie. It's just,
Yeah, you miss some people.
You do, yeah. There's a lot of good times we've had some of these listeners,
But then you get new ones, like Fruff.
Yeah, you do get new ones. Let's see. Is there a listener that was particularly active in the early days in the forums or email and just disappeared? Yeah,
Minzara's one of those.
Bainstrom is kind of...
Well, yeah, there have been some people but I know where they went.
Yeah, that's the difference is we know, but you guys just don't.
So Troy Kavanaugh, or not Troy Kavanaugh, I'm sorry, Troy. Mecha Messiah.
Yeah.
Don't know where he...
I've talked to him about 14 a little while ago. I was like, hey,
did
man.
you?
Yeah, I was like, hey, what's up?
I guess he is on Steam.
I asked him if he still listens, apparently.
Oh, he still listens, okay.
Yeah, and I was like, dude, nice. I just haven't heard from you forever, so I just figured you were like, I've had enough.
That's fine. Like, I listen to lots of podcasts, and...
Hi, how much interaction do you do?
I tweet Adam Carolla every once in a while.
Yeah.
And sometimes I get a little like. And
from Adam?
It. Yeah.
Oh, nice, yeah.
I mean, from his account. I think he has his assistant do it.
The coolest thing I've had is Dave Mustaine talking to me, like, briefly.
Oh, what?
Yeah.
Do I remember this?
I tweeted him, like, it was something I was like, man, I was like, I bet you... It was something about some Metallica album. I was like, you're probably going to go to town on that thing like you did at that Bottle Rocket in the Super Collider music video or something like that. And he was like, huh? And I tweeted him back, and I was like, oh, you like stomped the shit out of it. Like, because I was doing this Megadeth contest, that thing I was showing you, right, to get tickets. And I was watching the same fucking videos like a million times.
You watched the video more than he ever did.
Yeah, so I like analyze. I'm like, no, I know his catalog of music videos by heart now. On 1 times speed, 2 times speed, like just, I know it all. And I just made a comment about something to do with Metallica and like him stomping on it like he did that bottle rocket, and it was pretty fun.
This is the real Dave Mustaine.
Real Dave Mustaine, yeah, his Twitter. So it was kind of cool. I was like, oh, nice, he actually talked to me.
Oh, there you go. See, we do have a correspondence.
Exactly, yeah. Dave is, is very close with the ultimate Twitter handle.
I didn't know this. How the fuck did I not know this?
I don't know. I thought I told you, but I guess not. Yeah, I talked to him for like 2 seconds.
Wow, okay.
Yeah. Underwhelming. 3 out of 10. Would do again though. Would talk again. Let's see who else was particularly active. Void, I would say.
Oh yeah, but I know where Void went.
Yeah, Void went to his own show. Yeah. Yeah, got time for
I know where Gamma Stark went. I know where Bandrum went. I know where Chocobo Chica went. I know where I want to know where Void went.
Didn't know where
Minzara or Mecha Messiah went.
Yeah, we know where Krinatal went too, and that's nowhere.
Yeah.
You're going nowhere, boy. You're here for life.
We're on Twitter together.
Seriously,
so
yeah.
He's still there. Yeah. I mean, there's quite a few people.
Yeah, there have been a lot of people that have gone, and
it just happens.
A lot of forum members. I mean, Branny, we still talk to Branny.
I don't expect people to like hang around for forever for everything.
Yeah, especially because we keep changing our fucking site. Like we're just like, hey, we got this new site up.
It's not changing again.
Oh, and then I spent like all this time doing the side quests system for the last site, and like I build the Final Fantasy 1 campaign from the ground up.
Oh my god!
Now it's gone. And then someone was like, hey, you going to do that for this new site? No.
Nope.
I'm not doing
the site works
shit.
Well. It works
and
well.
And that's why it works well, is because we didn't fucking do that to it. We didn't do all this crazy cool shit and make it take like a year to load. So that's why the site functions. Because
not changing.
All of that fun stuff is gone. I do miss the rankings though from the original forums.
There's just no plugin I can find that can do that for us. I have looked desperately to get that thing again.
Yeah. It sucks, but
it was such a good part of the forum 1.0, but I couldn't stand it being on another.
It's hilarious. I wonder how many people like pick up the show from day one and like go onto that forum and are like, "Hey guys!"
Occasionally it does happen. There is proof of that on that site because that site still exists. We have still not gotten rid of it. But yeah.
Hello.
How does the show still have episodes?
Yeah,
no one's talking.
No one's here, dude. Oh, they went to this other site. Oh, wait, this isn't that site. This is a redirect to another site. Yeah. Is there anything that you look back on and wish you did differently?
Oh.
Dude, this is going to take a minute here. Okay, so 2001. Young Caleb pierced his ear. I would definitely do that differently. Pretty lame. What else? I probably... Oh, man. I would have never gotten that paint job on my old car right before I got the front bumper ripped off.
Okay.
I'd probably change that one for sure. Because that was a swanking ass paint job. It looked so pristine. And then the bumper got shredded off. And then it didn't look so pristine. I'll say that I would do over again. But in all honesty, the Final Fantasy IX review, I would probably do over again. And the Final Fantasy 13 review, and the playing of Final Fantasy 13, I would probably get a notebook. And this is something that we shunned our good friend, good man Shinru on for his like notebook idea of like plot lines and stuff within JRPGs when he plays them. Like he says like he fills out notebooks full of notes. Yeah, I would have done that for 13. So that the 13 review wouldn't have made me like cry tears of pain while I was like, what happened to this guy?
What the fuck happened in this game?
Who is he? I just played 60 hours of this thing and I don't know what happened. Yeah. I'd probably do that again. I think
I learned too much from those kind of things that I don't want to do them again.
Yeah. Well, I would do it differently if I had the chance.
Yeah, I guess.
I also would. I think I would have done a chronological system for the games as well. And by that I mean we do Final Fantasy IV, we do Final Fantasy IV the After Years, and that's it. We wrap that up. That's done. We go Final Fantasy V. We review the movie, which we did, and then we go Final Fantasy VII, and then we do all of the Final Fantasy VII content, and we finish that universe, wrap a nice bow on it, call it done. We move on to Final Fantasy VIII. I would have done that now. And I fucking hate that I didn't do it. That we didn't do that. It kills me now. Do you feel that way?
No, not
really.
At all.
Why?
No, because I know it was my idea for the order that we have.
Oh, okay.
But the reason for that is that I wanted to play all the main series in a row.
Yeah,
you don't do that when you take all the spin-offs away.
That's true, but I feel like it has a more tight-knit experience for that series of games. The 13 games would have been 13, then 13-2, then Lightning Returns, and we would have gotten the whole package of that. But at the same time, you bring up a good point. I mean, After Years came how many years after 4?
Yeah.
I get that's not even the same company. It's not even the same shit going on. They're different people working on it. So that is a fair point. Part of me, I think I would still probably do it the chronological though.
Chronological within their own universes.
I think so. If I were to do it again, now.
So we wouldn't even be...
We'd be on like Final Fantasy X right now, like 10-2.
I guess right now we would be where we are.
13. Yeah.
We'd be 13-3.
I think we actually would be, because we are caught up to, we're doing all the spinoffs.
Actually, we'd probably be playing 14 right now because after this would be 15. Because 15 took some time, and that would probably be finishing Lightning Returns. That would have been that time.
Yeah.
We'd be in 14 right now for the first time.
Whew. Man, that feels behind. Given the 8 days.
And then we'd be like, fuck, we got to beat this so we can play 15. God damn it.
Yeah.
That's what would happen.
That's vicious. I would do that. I think I would probably do that, though, just to get the whole...
All right, well, you can start your own goddamn Final Fantasy podcast after we're done here.
Final Fantasy Ultimate?
So you can call it UFF Replay, and then it's only you.
Then I would definitely only do review episodes.
Yeah.
It's like once a month I come on and be like, hey, guys, I beat Final Fantasy 3 this month. I still didn't really care for it that much. You know, It's like it was a decade ago, except for I don't have any fucking hair, and everybody was the tank in the end. I just put 2 shields on every character, just beat the shit out of people with them. So I do that. I would not burn through all the visual mediums as early as we did.
We still have Final Fantasy Unlimited to finish.
Don't say that here.
Yep.
Don't say that word.
Still has to go.
We should do one of those. We really should.
Yeah, we should do it when pigs fly as well.
Yeah.
God, dude. When hell freezes over, I think we should also do it then.
Yeah, we should marathon it.
Yeah, we should. We should, yes. I hate making these plans though when like my life is going through another change. This happens about twice a year, but it should stop happening soon.
Yeah. I would lay off on the movies. If I were to do it all over again, I would be like, okay, let's do one movie every once in a while so that we have a movie. Yeah, because we did.
I mean, there's only 4 movies.
Yeah, but we did 3 of them in like the first.
That's true.
Like 3 months of the show.
That's true.
I would have held off on Advent Children, especially. I would have put that in the 7 zone.
The 7 zone.
Yeah, that's a big zone. The rest of it, I don't know. I think the rest has been fine. I don't know.
Okay.
I think that way. The sad part about the 2.0
and doing screwing up a whole bunch of stuff, it just helps with the later episodes because you learn from them.
Yeah,
and so then you can adjust.
I don't mind the mistakes that we make, like the wrong things that we say about the games. Those I wouldn't change ever because I probably wouldn't realize that was wrong. If I were to go back in time and try to change it, I'd be like, yeah, that sounds fine, whatever. The nice thing about 2.0 version of the playthrough, though, is by the time we get to FF11 in my universe, the universe where I chose the order, we have a good following and we have people to help us through 11. We still had a couple, like, no doubt. Those guys were fucking godsends, but in this version, we have them plus another 10 people.
I don't know if we would get those.
You don't think so?
I don't know. And you would just marathon all of 11. It would be an 11 podcast for like a year.
That's true. Well, that's what I was afraid of, and that's why we had to do what we did with that game and give up our mortal lives and ascend to Vanadil.
It's done. That time. I'm never returning to that game.
You know, I've thought about it, and
Oh, you've thought about it?
Yeah.
You've thought about returning?
Yeah, I have. During login campaigns, I've been like, I'll do it. And I never did. I was like, yeah, I've got other Final Fantasy. Honestly, though, once we're done, maybe. I don't know. Although 11 might be done as well. You don't share that?
No.
Would you go back to 14 once we're all done? No. After we're done with the expansion?
No, I tell you, I would, for future releases, if the show were done, for future releases, I would come back for those only.
Okay.
Yeah.
Also, I will pledge this day. Any Final Fantasy that comes out, I will at the very least, after the show dies, and God knows how many years from now, I will put out an episode reviewing the game. At least me. I don't know if you want to join for that, but I feel like...
I won't know until that
It's
time
impossible
comes.
to say yes, but I will do it.
Okay. Well, that's your prerogative.
Who knows how long that will be, though.
I mean, it would be kind of a waste to be like, I played every single Final Fantasy game, and like 10 come out. You just... Meh.
Yeah, it would be wrong, right? You can no longer say that the day a new one comes out. It's
That's true.
Like, oh, what about the new one? Well, accept that one. They're like, oh yeah, I don't care anymore. Your street cred is gone.
Street cred is gone after like 46 games. Yeah. Street cred is gone.
There's 47. That's like 98%, dude.
It's like, shut up, you haven't beaten all of them.
Yeah. Yeah, do you even know what Revenant Wings is? So yeah, there's a few things I would do differently, but I think I've had a lot of fun doing the show, and I like the way it's turned out. I mean, obviously there are things that we could have tinkered that I think might be better. Now, looking in hindsight, the only way we could find that out is by doing it our way, though, and discovering that, well, shit, we shouldn't have done that. But it's too late. So
it's too late.
You know, I dig it, and I'm happy with what the last near 3 years has.
Yeah, I wish I had known more of the audio stuff a little bit more, because now we got like a setup that, although sometimes it screws up when we take vacations and mess with the settings, we have a setup that sounds pretty good now. And our show, up until the episode where we did FF12, it was always we were always messing with audio and trying to get it to a place that we were happy with.
Yeah, and it's been there ever since, though.
It's been since FF12. There's a very specific way that we have mixed the episodes that I'm very happy with, and so that's just kind of the standard.
That's definitely that's another thing that I would change if we went back in time.
I would add that hard limiter and a little bit of compression.
Just a little bit,
and that first one, I would have spent, learn how to spend a little bit of money on some equipment.
Yeah,
instead of what we did do.
That first episode is rough.
It's rough,
but yeah.
Well, the review's only like 30 minutes long too. For FF1. Of course, there's not that much content, so what are you going to do?
Yeah, it's only you beat it in 5 hours or something like that?
It was 9. Oh, for that playthrough, it was 11. It was 11 hours.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so 10 minutes an hour.
Okay. 10 minutes an hour.
5 minutes an hour-ish. No, not even that.
Not even that. No, dude. It's like 2 minutes an hour.
1 minute for every box of text.
Okay.
For the episode. Right. I think Final Fantasy II would fall under that as well. Gus's 5 minutes for every box of Gus dialogue.
Yeah, I can't believe how short our first 3 reviews were.
I know.
The FF4 review was like an hour and a half, and we were like, wow, that was an epic. And now what was FF15's? Like 5.5 hours?
Yes.
Yeah.
It was huge.
We should have split it into 3, and I still think that's a regret I have, is not making Twice split it into 3.
Yeah. I don't regret
and he
that.
refused.
I did. Part 3 is just too much.
Anyway, okay. Let's do our one review from Stitcher, not from iTunes, but that's what we're going to call the segment regardless.
Yeah.
iTunes reviews.
Stitcher
reviews.
Speaking of Black Mage Justin, also left us a review on Stitcher. This was a 5-star review titled "Awesome, well-produced, and informed show." This show is amazing. I started listening to only the review episodes, but these chuckle fucks have awesome chemistry, so I decided to check out.
You can say chuckle fuck on Stitcher.
Yeah. Yet our friend fucking Lycan of Light said something worse than chuckle. What did you put in there, man? What the fuck did you write? Yeah. Chuckle fuck works, but
well, I guess because fuck is in the middle of a word.
Yeah, and it's got an S at the end, so it's hidden. It's like really concealed. It's like one of those CAPTCHA images, those fuckface images that are like, oh, you need to get into your account? Well, can you read this thing?
Is it an L? Is it an I? What the fuck is it?
Who knows? Psych, it was a 1, but guess what? You can't put it in again because it's a new one. These chuckle effects have awesome chemistry, so I decided to check out the non-review episodes. And it turns out they are 2 very well-informed guys. Okay.
Not according to some of our hardcore Final Fantasy listeners.
Yeah, tweet at
They're just like, fine. Well, it's someone talking about Final Fantasy, but...
Yeah.
God.
These 2 have to be the assholes that do the whole series. You can tell there's a lot of love put into this podcast and the topic. Myself being a huge Final Fantasy fan, I fit in with these guys. Short version, well-produced, awesome chemistry, and lots of good information here. You'd be a fool not to listen to this podcast.
Well, there's a dude on Stitcher who gave us 2 stars. He must be a fool.
He is a fool.
He is a fool.
I believe he mentions some decent insights, but nothing to shout about. Pretty average. It's clear they're trying to carve a space for ourselves, but it's just not that good, unfortunately. Oh, there are better alternatives out there, huh? Like what? Huh?
Yeah.
Huh? FF Gamer 21? Fuck you! I'm just kidding. That was 2 years ago. We've gotten much better since then. It's great. We're a tremendous show.
It's tremendous. The best.
Wonderful show.
Yeah, we allow ourselves to go on tangents for forever now.
It's true, yeah.
Don't even worry about it.
Yeah, it's,
Might as well.
God, I bet he probably still hates it.
I bet he still does. All right, guys. Thank you. Thanks for listening to the show. You can find us on ultimafinalfantasy.com. If you want to support the show, you can support us on Patreon. Dave, I swear to God, Dave has like a decent amount of stuff made for Suteki Dane.
I've been hearing some stuff. I know he needs to lay down a vocal track.
The drummer needs to come in first and do some work.
That's true. He does hold the beat together. He holds the whole song together, honestly. He picks the tempo. He picks all of that. I mean, you got to stay...
Yeah, the drummer... Well, I'm not sure if he picks the tempo, but the drummer needs to come in...
Not in Dave's fucking band,
he Dave's band. Drummer needs to come in and do some work, and then they can lay down some guitar tracks and stuff that.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, the drummer is up north. Oddly, he's in Ogden. The drummer is up north in Ogden, and so that drummer will be working on some stuff very soon. And Dave has 3 or 4 guitar riffs that are ready to play along with some Suteki Dane sort of vocals. So
very nice, very nice.
Yeah, not sure if we should do it or if he should do it in English or in Japanese. And he was going to ask the audience whether or not they wanted it in English or in Japanese. If you could let me know, and I'll give the word to Dave, that'd be great.
Alrighty.
If you'd rather have the song in English or in Japanese. Let's see what else we got. Our phone line is 385-204-3921, and please leave us an iTunes review if you can. You can tweet me at Joseph DeGolier.
Me at UFF Podcast.
Our Facebook page is facebook.com. God. Facebook.com/Ultima Final Fantasy. Twitch.tv/Ultima Final Fantasy, where we do the episodes live and no one shows up for the stream.
Yeah.
Which happens to be the case today.
Either that or the Twitch chat is broken.
Considering just how much larger our show is now than it used to be in the past, and then sometimes we still just have days where no one shows up.
Yeah, it's sad.
It's like, what? Really? Come on.
Yeah.
Of course, we stopped doing the regular thing. Like, we used to come on at the same time every Saturday.
11 in the morning, yeah.
And now it's like...
Whenever.
Are we going to do it before Nude Clan? Are we going to do it after Nude Clan?
Yeah.
What's going on?
How long after? We're going to eat. How long
after?
Yeah, bad.
We tell the stream on Nude Clan, hey, we're going to be on Ultima in a second, and then we go out and eat something.
It's a Utah second.
It's Mormon Standard Time, 15 minutes late at least.
Right, yeah.
Everywhere, right?
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Nude Clan. Check out our Nude Clan show. Check out the Godzilla podcast, which just had a episode out about Godzilla versus Megalon, and we'll soon have an episode out on one of my favorite Godzilla movies, Godzilla versus Mecha Godzilla.
Oh, wow.
And you can also, if you were missing the fan fiction from early on in the show, speaking of early on in the show, there is it has its own spin-off podcast called Super Sexy Swingin' Fan Fiction.
Indeed, it does.
So, we'll see you guys next time.
Enjoy the tangent grind.
Sounds nice.
This has been another production of Ultima Final Fantasy, the Ultimate Final Fantasy Podcast. The show was produced by Joseph DeGollier and Caleb Schweiss, with music and editing by Joseph DeGollier, parodies and clips from their respective authors, of course. You can get all of our episodes as well as our Let's Plays at ultimafinalfantasy.com. You can also contact us on Twitter at UFF Podcast, as well as our contact page on our website. Be sure to subscribe and review our podcast. Your reviews may get read on the show, and look forward to the next episode of Ultima Final Fantasy, the Ultimate Final Fantasy Podcast.